We are honored to have with us today Dr. Jason Curry, who has graciously agreed to begin our ceremony. Dr. Curry has a long and highly respected association with Fisk University as a teacher, an administrator, and a spiritual leader. Currently, Dr. Curry is an assistant director of Fisk University's John R. Lewis Center for Social Justice, a professor of religion and of philosophy, and dean of Fisk Memorial Chapel. Dr. Curry is married to Angelina Green Curry, and they have 3 children, Sam, Nia, and John. Sam and John both graduated from MBA. Gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Jason Curry.
Thank you so much for that kind and generous introduction. I'd like to thank Mr. Kelly for the invitation to be with you this morning. Also would like to express my gratitude to Headmaster Joya for the opportunity, indeed a privilege that it is, to stand before you on this auspicious occasion. I also work in the area of higher education administration, and Headmaster Joya, his wise counsel, his perceptive insight, his informed advice have been invaluable to me throughout the years, and I thank God for him. Among other things, I'm a preacher, I'm a minister, and I have 2 children, John and Sam, and a daughter as well. She attended SCA, and that makes them PKs, preachers' kids. And I told them that I would be here, and they said, Dad, don't speak too long. We want to keep our friends. So in order to abide by their wishes, I won't be long this morning. The civil rights documentary titled Eyes on the Prize demonstrated that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. marched with people who were white Americans, black Americans, and brown Americans. History declares that Dr. King marched for civil rights with people who did not express Christianity as their faith tradition. For example, in 1965, he marched with Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel in Selma, Alabama. Dr. King marched with people who were not Christians. However, these people understood intuitively and through their time-honored experiences Christ-like behavior. Micah, the prophet in the Old Testament, was not a Christian. He was Jewish, but he understood Christ-like behavior and what I've come to understand as being a compassionate citizen. My point is that Dr. King demonstrated that we must strive to find common ground with people from all walks of life who are trying to improve humanity, irrespective of their religious background or political persuasion. We must work in tandem with people from every corner of this globe who have a concern for the least of these, irrespective of their race, their class, or their gender. We must put our hand to the plow no matter how worn our hands may become so that we may create St. Augustine's city of God, irrespective of the evident fragmentation in our postmodern society. We must walk in tandem and to the same tune with those who see value in Thomas Aquinas's beatific vision for a better society. It is this Dr. King whose moral compass never wavered in times of personal crisis, even national confusion, that I reference today. For just a few moments, I'd like to talk about 3 qualities of a compassionate citizen. 3 qualities of a compassionate citizen. Micah 6:8, the prophet said, God has shown to you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of thee? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. The first quality that I would like to talk about concerns the concept of justice. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines justice as, quote, the maintenance or administration of what is just, especially by the impartial adjustment of conflicting claims or the assignment of merited rewards or punishment. The dictionary goes on to say that justice is, quote, the quality of being just, impartial, or fair. Justice, a time-honored theme that is found throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament. Justice, one of 4 cardinal virtues, the other 3 being wisdom and temperance and courage. It is recognized by the great philosopher Plato in the book titled The Republic. Justice is that which the prophet Isaiah was talking about when he said that the Lord will make the crooked places straight, Isaiah 45:2. Justice, it's what Fannie Lou Hamer fought for in Mississippi, the right to vote as citizens of this great nation. Justice is what Paul Robeson wanted before they took away his passport during the Red Scare. Justice is a universal phenomenon. Everyone assembled in this room will seek it if they haven't already sought it, at least at one period in their lives. And when it comes to justice, Dr. King maintained that your religion is irrelevant, your ethnicity is inconsequential, your gender does not matter, your race is of no concern. No one cares about your class status. Everyone around this globe, those in the east, those in the west, up north, down south, everyone at some point in their lives will try to seek and obtain justice. A compassionate citizen is necessarily concerned about justice. Used to be a substitute teacher some 30 years ago. Don't you know that even kindergartners want justice? Couldn't believe it. I know what happened. I turned around and someone was yelling, someone was crying, everyone was 2 feet tall, but somebody wanted justice. Working in a kindergarten class made me rethink my whole life as a minister. Is pursuing justice something that I wanted to do? But a compassionate citizen is necessarily concerned about justice for the despised, the disinherited, the disenfranchised, the disrespected, and the dismissed people of this world. Second point I want to talk about briefly is about loving mercy. God has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of thee? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. I believe that the prophet Micah was right. We ought to love mercy. To be sure, we need this universal concept of justice, but we often need this unique and awesome quality of mercy to guide our lives. Mercy is what we need if we are truly going to be compassionate citizens. Please permit me, in the interest of time, to wax poetical just for a little while and to personify the principles of justice and mercy so that someone might see why we need both of them in our lives. Justice recognizes the splinter in our brother or sister's eye, but mercy prompts us to recognize the plank in our own. Justice says, tell them to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, but mercy says, show them love because they don't even have boots with straps to pull themselves up with. Justice says, you're not welcome because you've entered illegally, but mercy says, show people hospitality as much as you can, because unless you're Native American, you were brought here in bondage, or you entered this outstanding, wonderful country through the generosity or the support of someone else. Justice says you are too poor and your life does not matter. But mercy says, if it were not for God's grace, I would be in the same predicament. We need justice in this life. Indeed, we are a country of laws. But we all must remember that we are beneficiaries of God's mercy, and we still need it every day. Sometimes I like to say on Sunday morning in the Fisk Memorial Chapel, we're not assembled here because we've all made the right moves. We're not here today because we have millions of dollars in our pockets. We're not present and accounted for simply because of our last names. We're not in the land of the living because of our jobs or how we are able to articulate the English language. We're not here assembled because we've made all the correct decisions in life. In fact, if the truth be told, we've made some incorrect decisions when we drove here or walked here this morning. We're only here with the activity of our limbs because of God's mercy. We're clothed and in our right minds because of the generosity of God's love. What does the Lord require of thee but to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? Final quality I want to touch on this morning concerns the need to walk humbly with your God. I remember being a graduate student at Harvard University some 25 years ago. My thesis concerned examining spirituality as a resource for African Americans overcoming chemical dependency. I remember facilitating a group as an inpatient and an outpatient counselor. Many of my clients didn't talk about God. In fact, some of them were angry with God. However, they believed that a power greater than themselves, a higher power, could restore them to sanity. The prophet Micah was suggesting that success is found in the innate connection between mind, body, and spirit, just as success is rooted in the relationship between being a gentleman, a scholar, and an athlete. Dr. King understood justice. He once said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Dr. King understood the concept of mercy. In 1958, he was stabbed at a book signing, yet he thanked God for his life. But he understood as well this concept of spirituality and the necessity of walking humbly with God. One may think that in this age of rampant narcissism, selfish meism, as Dr. King would say, and unmitigated arrogance, that it is not possible to walk humbly with God. However, I would like to make the case that it is still possible and even necessary to walk humbly if we are to find common ground in this society. And I just want to encourage someone this morning to walk humbly as you continue your quest to do justice and to love mercy. Yes, it is still possible to walk humbly with God. And as a minister like Dr. King, I do that by walking with the one who walks with us and talks with us and tells us that we are his very own. And what does the Lord require of thee? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Amen, and thank you.